Yo, what's up guys, it's NLW back again with another video. Today, another ranking video. Last time I ranked every single NLW pay-per-view ever, and today we're going to be going through every single NLW champion ever and ranking them from best to worst. Overall, in the 8-year span of this company, there have been 10 NLW champions, and today we're going to rank them. So I'm going to base this on how they won the title, the length of their reign, the quality of their matches, also perhaps how they lost the title as well. It's just a personal opinion. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. But without further ado, let's get into this ranking. So first of all, we'll start off with The Undertaker. He won the championship from John Cena at our first pay-per-view, Intensity. And obviously back then, the match quality wasn't as good. So he did have a decent match against John Cena at the next pay-per-view breakdown inside a steel cage. And then he went on to lose the title in the Elimination Chamber, the first Elimination Chamber in NLW. So we'll keep an eye on him. He was the first champion, so he's going to have a little bit of a nostalgia feel to him. He probably won't be at the bottom. But let's move on now to the next NLW champion, John Cena. He picked up from The Undertaker and won the title in that Elimination Chamber. His first title defense was against The Undertaker the very next night, which he won. And then Shawn Michaels was his next challenger. They fought at the Royal Rumble, but it ended in a draw, so that's going to hinder Cena a little bit. Cena did have matches against the likes of Triple H in the meantime as well, where I believe he won, I can't quite remember, but he lost the title to Shawn Michaels in an Extreme Rules match at Retribution. So I would say the quality probably less than The Undertaker, even though the matches were better, although he could have been booked a little bit stronger. Aside from the Undertaker match, he didn't have any successful title defenses, so I think on that basis, going to have to put him below The Undertaker. And next up, of course, Shawn Michaels. Now, this is a bit of a tricky one because as of now, he is the only two-time NLW champion, so we'll take that into account, guys. He won the title his first reign in an Extreme Rules match against John Cena. That was a brilliant match, and then the very next night, beat Cena inside of a steel cage. He went on to lose the championship to Triple H at WrestleMania, and then he failed to win it back in another attempt, but we'll get onto that in a moment. His next title reign, he won at the Royal Rumble, the third Royal Rumble against CM Punk. He had successful title defenses against Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar. He also defeated CM Punk in a TLC match at Desolation, so that's going to come into play, and he lost the title, unfortunately, due to screwy circumstances, getting cashed in by Edge. So on the basis of him being a two-time champion, his first reign was a little bit weak, although he did have a successful title defense. His next reign was much stronger, defended the title every week, even though it was quite short. So, a controversial take, but because he's a two-time champion, I'm going to put him at the top of the list for now, above Undertaker and John Cena, based on the fact that the match quality was better in the more recent years. Next up, we've got the Game, Triple H. He won the title, as I said, at the first ever WrestleMania against Shawn Michaels. He went on to defeat AJ Styles and others. He then beat Shawn Michaels in a Hell in a Cell at Destruction. He retained the title again at Over the Limit and lost it ultimately in the Triple Cage, the infamous Triple Cage against The Undertaker and Sting. Now, this is quite a long reign. It's a longer reign than either of Michaels' reigns. It probably lasted about 6 months, although the quality of the length of the reign, I should say, isn't really a factor if you consider how much I was uploading back then compared to now and stuff like that. So I would say it was a strong reign. Michaels was a two-time champion, granted, but feels like Triple H had more of a significant reign as champion. So I'm going to I'll put him at the top, based on how memorable his reign was compared to both of Michaels' reigns. Anyway, let's move on to Sting, the next champion after Triple H. He won the title in the Triple Cage match. That was a huge match at the time. He went on to beat Triple H again at Sacrifice, then got into a feud with CM Punk, and that matchup at Heatwave, it ended in kind of screwy circumstances because Punk's foot was on the rope. Then Sting beat him again in a 2 out of 3 falls match, but AJ Styles cashed in on Sting. Now, this is kind of a tricky one. I don't know whether to put him above Triple H or below him. I think his reign probably maybe as good as Michaels. I'm not quite sure. I would say I will put it below Shawn Michaels, because aside from 2 title defenses, or 2 opponents I should say, I think the fact that Michaels had the title twice will edge it over Sting. Now, speaking of, the man who cashed in Money in the Bank to take the title from Sting was the phenomenal AJ Styles, and then he went on to successfully defend the title against Sting at the Royal Rumble, the second Royal Rumble. He then went on to Havoc, 30-minute Iron Man match, continuing his feud with CM Punk, beat him there, although it was so close. He went on to defeat the first ever champion, The Undertaker, at the second WrestleMania, then beat him inside Hell in a Cell in a brutal war, and I think up until this point this was the most pay-per-view title defenses that a champion in NLW had had. He ultimately lost it at Unchained in an Elimination Chamber match to CM Punk, although Lesnar was the one who pinned AJ Styles, not CM Punk, so that brings into some questionable territory. I would say AJ Styles at the moment, he has to be the top of the list, beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania for one thing, beating him again in Hell in a Cell, only losing it in an Elimination Chamber match, and then of course the Iron Man beating Sting at the Royal Rumble, the cash-in, and the build-up to that. So now AJ Styles, he's at the top of the list. Now moving on, we've got CM Punk, the next champion after AJ Styles. He won the title in a bloody Elimination Chamber match, beating Lesnar at the last minute with help from Shawn Michaels. So there was an alliance, guys, between Michaels and CM Punk at the time. Punk then went on to win a Fatal 4-Way at Insurgents, although again, kind of screwy circumstances, screwed Michaels out of that match. He went on to the Royal Rumble where he was ultimately defeated by Shawn Michaels. However, Triple H interfered in that one. Also, you had Austin as the guest ref, perhaps caused some tension between those two, so it kind of was a short reign. In hindsight, would have liked to give him a bit of a longer reign, but I don't think it was as good as Sting's, because Sting had more successful pay-per-view title defenses. I don't believe Punk actually defended the title all that much, aside from that one match at Insurgents, but I think the match quality was better than when The Undertaker was champion, so for that reason, I'll put him above The Undertaker and just below Sting. Now, the man who took the title from Punk was Michaels, but obviously I've already ranked him based on his 2 title reigns. The man who took the title from Shawn Michaels was the Rated R superstar, Edge. He cashed in his Intercontinental title, and at the time that meant that he could have a world title match, and he beat Shawn Michaels. It was a quick one, it was over and done, and then Edge had the title. He had his bodyguard, Samoa Joe. I think he only defended the title once, and that was against Shawn Michaels at an event that I called the Torment Tour, and that was leading into WrestleMania, but it was at WrestleMania where Edge lost the title to Seth Rollins in that Fatal 4-Way. In fact, he was the first one eliminated, so kind of a weak reign. For that reason, he was a transitional champion. Unfortunately, it was what it was. He's going to have to be at the bottom of the list, because although John Cena may have had a short reign as well, he had great matches. I think if I'd done more with Edge at the time, then he would have been higher, but for now, unfortunately, because of the shortness of his reign and the quality of his title matches, he's going to have to rank lower. Now, the man who beat him, it is Seth Rollins. He won the title, Fatal 4-Way match at WrestleMania, beat Shawn Michaels, Samoa Joe, and Edge to win the title. So again, off to a hot start. He went on to defeat Edge again in a no-holds-barred match on NLW, then had a pay-per-view title match against Pentagon Jr. That was a brutal one. Following on from that, had a rivalry with Bret the Hitman Hart, defeated the Legend at the Royal Rumble 4. I believe he also had a match against Randy Orton for the world title, but ended in a little bit of controversy. He wasn't actually on TV all that much between the Rumble and WrestleMania until, we had the match set in stone, and at WrestleMania 4 it was Rollins losing the title in a triple threat matchup to Daniel Bryan. Nakamura also in that match. It was a strong reign though. I think based on the length, it is up there. I hadn't had a really strong babyface champion for quite a while, and I personally believe that I'd up the quality of my matches. I feel like Triple H's though was more dominant and more iconic. He was kind of more unstoppable in that sense. I think although Michaels was a 2-time champion, Rollins' entire reign was probably longer than both of them, and probably had more interesting kind of main event level matches, so I don't think it's as good as Triple H. That might be a controversial one, but I'll put Rollins just below Triple H and just above Shawn Michaels. Now our final champion, the American Dragon, Daniel Bryan. He, at the moment, is the NLW champion, so it's going to kind of hinder him on this list because his reign hasn't been completed yet. We don't know how long he's going to be champion for or what matches he's got ahead of him. At the moment, had a few matches against Pac. Those are both brilliant, and now, of course, Shinsuke Nakamura is back, so they're going to have a match down the line. That should be good. I think on the basis of him winning the title at WrestleMania, then he's going to have to rank somewhat highly, and it might be a bit unfair because his reign hasn't finished yet, so I would say, based on fairness, it's going to go, I'll put it bang straight in the middle between Sting and CM Punk. And again, this could change because he could get better. Again, he could lose the title sooner than later. You never know. No spoilers on that one, but I think the potential is there, so we'll put him in the middle for now. Alright, that is it, guys. That is every NLW champion in history ranked. Let's just go through them best to worst. At the top, we've got the best champion, in my opinion, the best title reign, AJ Styles. Then you've got Triple H. Seth Rollins in at number 4 is Shawn Michaels, and number 5 is Sting. Then we've got Daniel Bryan, but of course, it's subject to change because as his title reign is ongoing. Then you got below him CM Punk, The Undertaker, the first ever champion, John Cena below him, and right at the bottom, Edge, based on the fact his reign was quite short and was arguably a transitional reign for Rollins to win the title at WrestleMania. Well, that is the list. Let me know what you guys think of the list in the comments below. Do you think I've ranked anyone too highly? Do you agree with the list? Let me know what changes you would make. If you enjoyed this ranking video, make sure to hit that like button as it really helps the channel. Also, if you're not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button as we're trying to edge closer to 30,000 subs, and make sure you turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Leave a comment, let me know what you think of the list, and I'll catch you guys later.